Hey, it's me, Ruthie from Total Wine & More. You know how stores have been raising their prices lately? Well, lean into your speaker a little closer because I've got a big secret to share. Total Wine is actually lowering our prices on hundreds of wines. I know, right? And even better, our new lower prices on hundreds of wines are here to stay. But listen, don't thank me. At Total Wine, we love helping our customers save big. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, be 21. At Simply Safe, we design award-winning security to protect every inch of your home. It's easy to set up yourself, and now there's an even easier option. Have an expert do it for you with Simply Safe Pro Install. Always protecting, never a contract. 2 easy installation options. Backed by 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. Get 20% off any new system with interactive monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Mill Creek Golf Course has been the Valley's leader for golfing fun since 1928. It features 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross and was voted a top 30 municipal facility by Golf Week in 2012. The Mill Creek Golf Shop is a certified Callaway Golf custom fitting center and is stocked with your favorite golf apparel and accessories. Mill Creek Golf Course is now booking tee times for this year's golf season. Please call us at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken, and when I want to catch up with Youngstown sports, I tune in to Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Golf in the Mahoning Valley starts at Mill Creek Golf Course. Come out to the 36 beautiful hole design course by Donald Ross, and golf lessons are available by calling the team shop at 330-740-7112. Don't forget about family fun nights on Friday and Saturday evenings, a family of 4 with cart for only $25. Or visit the Wick Recreation Area and the lighted Par 3 course. Book your tee time today at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier. Then make sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Let's be real. The odds of a high school athlete getting a college scholarship and making it to the pros are pretty slim. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to dream of becoming a pro athlete, even a famous one. But that's not why I play. My reason why? I love the competition.
My reason why is community.
My reason why is leadership.
My reason why is to challenge myself.
My reason why is love for the game.
And hey, if we don't make it to the pros or onto the cover of Sports Illustrated, that's okay. Because there's every reason to believe we'll excel in something even bigger than sports. We'll excel in life. There are lots of
It is time for another episode of By All Means, back after a week's vacation last week. Congratulations to my former co-host of The Bullpen, Tony Meluso.
Him and his wife, Maureen, married over the weekend. My wife and I had a chance to head out for that wedding. So congratulations to them. This is By All Means, Season 4, Episode 22, 139 in the books overall. Presented by Mill Creek Golf Course. Visit millcreekmetroparks.org for more information. Find us on Facebook. Just search for Western Reserve Radio, on Twitter at WR_radio. Download the Live 365 or TuneIn app, or go to westernreserveradio.com, all part of the iMedia1 network. Going to talk a lot of football today. Going to talk to a lot of coaches today. And it begins here at the top of the show with our head coach of the Cleveland Cobras, Adam Rogerson. And Coach, first off, thanks for coming on. And that was a big win for your squad last Saturday.
Thanks for having me. Yes, it was. Really proud of my guys.
So kind of take us back to that final drive when you knew you had to get the touchdown to win the football game. Take us back to the mindset and kind of your thoughts as you went through that final drive.
Well, the whole game it was pretty much back and forth, and our offense this year has been slow, but they're starting to gel. So to put us in that situation with an opportunity to go down the field and win the ball game, we were all pretty confident. And the way the offensive line was playing all game, we knew they had it in them. And we saw how the Glads came out, and they went small. So that was sort of their downfall. We said, if they stay small, we're going to pound it. And they did. And so that really opened it up for our offense to get down the field.
When you look at that final drive, overall, you have to be pleased with clock management and how you were able to conserve time and to be able to get that final score.
Yeah, I mean, I can say it couldn't have went any better. We knew we had 2 timeouts, so when we got within range, we called that final timeout, put 2 plays in the game, or put 2 plays in the huddle, and the rest is history.
Yeah, you look at that drive, and whether it was your offense being on top of it, you guys yelling from the sidelines. When you went to the last play, you didn't have a timeout, you couldn't spike the ball, so you had to get up to the line and get the playoff. It seemed to work for you perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, we practice. That's something that we practice, that up-tempo offense with these guys running to the line. So it was almost like second nature to us. So it's something that we worked on in the off season, and it, transferred perfectly in that game.
Coach, you mentioned the offense coming along. Do you really see it developing? You look at the numbers, and you're only averaging a little more than 14.3 points per game in the tri-point, but for the most part, it's been enough to get you the W's when you need them.
Yeah, I mean, each week, statistically, we're getting more and more yards. Our offense is pretty balanced, run to pass. So us not having any preseason play at all, besides the Leviathan game, a lot of these teams have had 3 or 4 games, and we sort of just jumped right into it. So that put us at a little bit of a disadvantage. But, I mean, we're coming together as a team at the right time.
Let's talk about the other side of the football. I mean, you've got to be ecstatic with the way the defense has played, giving up about 12.5 points per game in the tri-point so far, especially that deep and athletic D-line that you've got.
Yeah, those guys they're the real deal. I can't say enough about them. We have depth on both sides of the ball, but defense, these guys are playing for each other, and those guys up front are insanely strong and insanely fast. I'm really proud of them. They really perfect their craft, and they work hard. And the communication's there. Everyone's getting along. I couldn't ask for anything more.
And it's got to be such a difficult defense to prepare for because you're sending guys all over the field, whether you're creeping up a linebacker or you're sending a corner. It's just been a very aggressive defense all year long.
Yeah, I mean, again, it starts with those guys up front, though. They create the pressure and get those guys going. So teams really don't know where we're coming from. That's the real advantage when you have, your whole defensive line is, 6'5" and in shape.
How much does it let you gamble, maybe take some risks defensively, knowing not only is your D-line going to get through and get pressure on the quarterback, but you keep them fresh by the number of guys that you run in and out?
Yeah, I mean, I have a great coaching staff that makes sure, guys are going in and coming out at the right times. And it's really just that in semi-pro. If you have coaches and you have good coaches, they're going to make sure things run smoothly. And Jamar running the defense with alongside Jonathan and David, it's going really smooth. So no complaints here.
Coach, you're approaching the midway point of the season. What would you say you're happy with, and what are you working on to get better at?
I'm happy with the way my team is progressing. The chemistry is starting to form. Like I said earlier, it's not having those preseason games kind of put us at a disadvantage. But right now, we're firing on all cylinders. Those 2 road games, we dropped one at home versus the Bobcats, and then went down to Portsmouth and won, and then went up against the Glads team who hasn't lost in the Tri-Point in the regular season and beat them. So I would say I'm happy the way the guys are responding. And we have a really tough game coming up versus the Golden Hawks, but I know that we'll have them prepared. So I'm happy the way these guys are coming out and performing, and I can't be happier of the way they're doing everything right. I think we need to work on just gaining, that back half of the season, that other part of the chemistry. And that's when guys have to dig deep because we still have a lot of football left.
Coach, before we get to talking about the game with the Golden Hawks, you've got the 4th of July weekend off this week. How do you kind of balance this off week? Is it, practice as much as possible? Is it try to rest up and get your guys healthy for that game against the Golden Hawks? What's the plan for this week?
Well, I think it's business as usual. I'm very thankful that we have time off, but we still have to get our work in, and we're watching film and we're preparing. And with that extra week for us, it just makes it that much better. So, nope, business as usual for us, practice and game film.
So next week, 2 weeks from Saturday, it's that matchup against the Greensburg Golden Hawks that are having a great season. Preview them and tell me what you anticipate coming from the Golden Hawks in 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, the Golden Hawks are a solid team. I know they have some standouts on their offensive line. They got some standouts. Wide receivers, their backs are big. They're a well-coached team. Their defense is pretty solid. They won the championship last year. So we went down there and played them last season and sort of had a little bit of a preview. I know it's going to be a little bit different, season to season, but we know what their team's going to bring, and we're going to be prepared for it.
When you look at and you just kind of step back and you look at the Tri-Point, it continues to expand. It continues to get better. Has this franchise kind of settled in? Is this league the perfect home for the Cleveland Cobras?
I think so. There's the Tri-Point's getting better, and there's some teams out there that are still developing. But when it comes to the I don't want to say the elite teams, but the bigger teams in the Tri-Point, the competition's there. So I think the Cobras found a home for this season, and we're going to make the best of it.
And you look at the franchise and in years past, and boy, there were some miles put in all season long. How, I don't want to say, is it just knowing you've got that longest trip to Portsmouth that's out of the way and done? You don't have to deal with any 4.5 hour bus rides in the second half of the year.
Yeah, I mean, the away game, Portsmouth, we wanted to go down there because they were a good team. We wanted to go to that historical site and play, and we knew it was going to be tough. We focused in, we locked in on that 4-hour bus ride and took care of business. This second back half of the season, we know we still have the Cleveland Rams, the Canton Hurricanes, and the Golden Hawks still on our schedule. But I mean, for us to play the Golden Hawks at home, we're pretty fortunate, and we're just locking in. I mean, we're just focusing, and it's a way different team, Cobra's team, than it was last year. Got a lot of young guys, have a lot of vets, and I couldn't be, more proud of them right now.
Coach, we talked when you took the team over, and you had a plan in place of what you wanted to do. Would you say you are on schedule of what that plan was when you took over as the head coach?
Yep. I mean, last year was the foundation year. I would have loved to come in there and go undefeated and compete for a championship my first year as head coach and semi-pro, but we knew it was going to be a foundation year, and we built that. And then right after the season in August, we started speed camps for all those guys who didn't quite make it in the playoffs, and we started working hard, and we haven't stopped. So I would say I think I'm right where I thought I would be. 4-1 is very good. It was very good for us. The Cobras haven't been 4-1 for a long time, and that all happens because of our ownership. Jesse does a really good job, and the coaching staff, and they're the ones, and the team and the players. They're the ones that do this. I'm the one that tries to keep everything organized and going.
When you came in, you had been a coordinator, but you hadn't been a head coach. What have you learned about yourself as a head coach through now a season and a half?
Well, I can honestly say I've been a coordinator for so long. I always thought the head coaching job, I'm like, oh man, anyone can do that. That's pretty easy. And I'm finding that it's not as easy as I thought it was, but we're making it.
When you look at it, what has been the challenges for you that you've had to overcome? Is it time management, game planning, kind of having your hand and your opinion in everything? How has that worked for you?
That's worked out fine. It's just when you go out in the off season and you recruit a lot of players, the Cobras have one of the biggest, if not the biggest team in the Tri-Point to get all the personalities into one team and just start from scratch and sell the plan so these guys buy in. It's hard sometimes to sell it to 75 guys that this is the vision and this is the goal. And we started in August, so it took a long time for us to get where we are now. And I would say making guys buy in and showing them that this is the plan and this is where we're going to go. And so far the plan's working out and my guys have bought in.
Well, Coach, appreciate a few minutes of your time. Enjoy the off weekend this weekend, and good luck against the Golden Hawks in 2 weeks.
All right. Thank you, sir. Have a nice holiday.
You too. That is the head coach of the Cleveland Cobras that joined us for a moment here on the show. We appreciate Coach Rogerson joining us in year number 2. Of course, the Cobras hosting the Greensburg Golden Hawks in 2 weeks. You can hear that all right here on a Western Reserve Radio. 4-1, as Coach said. Yeah, you'll take that. Would you love to be 5-0? Absolutely. Every coach wants to be undefeated, but 4-1 and a huge win last week against the Gladiators. Things are definitely heading in the right direction for Coach Rogerson, for Jesse Caldwell, the owner, and the entire organization for the Cleveland Cobras. So we thank him for joining us today on this edition of By All Means, presented by Mill Creek Metro Parks and Mill Creek Golf Course. Coming up after the timeout, we jump into what's trending. We're going to bounce around quite a bit. There's a lot of different things going on in the world of sports that ties in here to us locally, because that is what this show is always going to be about. And we always want to focus in on the local sports news. We can let you know when we officially will announce our high school football schedule. That's all coming up after the timeout.
Golf in the Mahoning Valley starts at Mill Creek Golf Course. Mill Creek Golf Course is the host venue for the AJGA PGA Hope Program, 8 high school teams, and 2 collegiate teams. Mill Creek Golf Course is your Callaway certified golf club fitting facility. It was named the PGA of America's National Merchandiser of the Year for a public facility 2022. Book your tee time at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Accidents happen. That's why you need Repair That Glass. Specializing in windshield replacement and all other auto glass, we offer a full range of automotive glass repairs. Our technicians can do everything from minor chip repair to a complete replacement. Your windows don't go up or down, they can fix that too, along with custom glass work and antiques. Repair That Glass is a family-run business for over 40 years. Repair That Glass. Call for your appointment now at 330-534-3192.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
We are right back here on By All Means, here on Western Reserve Radio, brought to you by our friends at Mill Creek Golf Course. Visit millcreekmetroparks.org for more information. Before we dive into what's trending, we can let you know officially we will be releasing the Western Reserve Radio 2 Sports Radio 1240 high school football schedule coming up on Friday at noon. You can find it on all of 1240 and Western Reserve Radio social media Friday at noon, Facebook, Twitter, WBBW.com. We will have that schedule for you officially released at noon on a Friday. Looking forward to more high school football coverage right here on Western Reserve Radio. Jim Craven and the coach Bob Gessler back together, myself and Dave Clark on Western Reserve Radio 2 and Sports Radio 1240. In just about 7 weeks from Thursday. Not that we want to rush summer away, but it's not that far away before the start of high school football. The earliest start we have ever had in the state of Ohio, and we'll be right at it on the first Friday night with action here on Western Reserve Radio. What is trending? CBS Sports reporting former Youngstown State wide receiver Kyle Smith has been promoted to assistant general manager of the Atlanta Falcons. Smith joined the team back in 2021, serving as vice president of player personnel. Prior to being hired by Atlanta, he had worked with Washington in several different roles. Smith played for YSU from 2002 to 2005, where he had over 100 catches, over 1,500 yards, and 10 touchdowns. His father, A.J. Smith, was a longtime football executive, previously working as general manager for the Chargers from 2003 until 2012. NBA draft news is that draft was last week on Thursday night. Former Kennedy Catholic star Oscar Tshiebwe agreed to a two-way NBA contract with the Indiana Pacers, according to multiple reports. NBA insider Sham Shamara for The Athletic made the announcement after Tshiebwe went undrafted on Thursday night, becoming the first Naismith Award winner to not be drafted since the award began in 1969. Now, the former Kentucky forward led the nation in rebounding 2 years in a row, this past year averaging almost 14 boards per game. Wow, 13.7 per game. He also led the SEC in double-doubles and led the Wildcats in scoring this past year at 16.5 points per game. Local high school sports news, and we try and talk about this on our high school football broadcasts. I'm not sure if we give enough attention to just how good the officials are in our area. And I don't care if it's football, baseball, basketball, track, soccer, wrestling, you name it. We have some of the best high school officials in the state of Ohio right here in the greater Youngstown area. And that was proven when track official Karen Sapp was named the boys track and field official of the year. The new Waterford resident, she was one of 20 officials statewide named as officials of the year for the Ohio High School Athletic Association in different sports. Officials of the year are selected throughout a process that includes the OHSAA staff, the OHSAA directors of officiating, development, and local official associations. So once again, proving some of the best officials in the state of Ohio are right here in the greater Youngstown area. So this story isn't necessarily local, but it jumped off the page when I saw it earlier this week, and I could not believe this. So how about this? A 9-year-old, yes, that's right, you heard me say, a 9-year-old from Snoop Dogg's Youth Football League has landed a 6-figure NIL deal with a sports agency, becoming the first person from a youth league to do so at such a young age. Gahaley Wadud Jr.'s father, Gahaley Wadud Sr., shared the news with Nextstar's KTLA, describing his son as a 9-year-old athlete that excels in football, baseball, track, and karate, saying, quote, "It's kind of surreal," when reflecting on the moment his son signed the deal. Again, quote, "It's humbling and surreal. It's humbling and exciting to see his potential and want to manage him. He'll be working with Family for Life, a sports agency that already represents players from the NFL, including New England Patriots, San Francisco 49ers, and the New York Giants." The father described the deal as a business portfolio executed by the founder of the sports agency, saying the young football star, who hasn't even reached double digits in age yet, has already made a name for himself in the world of football. Unbelievable. A 9-year-old now has a name, image, and likeness deal. And we saw this with student athletes that haven't even gotten to the high school level. And now we're seeing a 9-year-old youth sports star signing an NIL with a company called Family for Life. Kind of surreal when you stop and think about it, but I mean, anybody can sign a contract, so it is interesting to see how this will continue to develop. Major League Baseball, we start with the Pittsburgh Pirates, who, after being off yesterday, are back home at PNC Park as they will unveil officially their City Connect jerseys and wear those for the first time tonight against the San Diego Padres. And I've seen mixed comments on these jerseys so far. Some positive, some negative. Of course, that's what mixed means. But, I mean, they're all right. They're supposed to be reminiscent to the 79 World Series jerseys. If you haven't seen them, there's lots of pictures out there. Gold jerseys, black PGH across the front, black names on the back of the jerseys. Tonight will be the night they unveil those in a game. Rich Hill on the mound for the Pirates. He is 6-7 with a .434 earned run average. This is the first of 3 for the Pirates as they look to round out the month of June. Let's see, it'll be 3 with the Padres, 7:05 the next 2 nights, a day game on Thursday at 12:35 before they wrap up the home portion of the first half of the schedule with 3 against the Brewers Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then how about this for your late night baseball fix? 7 straight on the road in the West Coast for the Pirates before they wrap up the first half of the year and head into the All-Star break on July 10th. 4 at LA against the Dodgers, 3 against the Arizona Diamondbacks, including a 4th of July 9-10 first pitch. So that is the schedule coming up ahead for the Pirates, who have been struggling as of late. They lost to Miami on Sunday 2-0. Seeing Brian Reynolds go on the IL. Andrew McCutchen missed some time. He was a little bit banged up as well. The Pirates sit at 35-42 on the season at this point. For the Guardians, they were also off yesterday after they fell to Milwaukee 5-4 on Sunday. The road trip for the Guardians begins tonight at 8:10 at Kansas City as they face the 22-56 Royals. They are struggling once again this year. Gavin Williams gets start number 2 for the Guardians. No wins, no losses, a .635 earned run average after that big league debut that was marred by him hanging a curveball that I don't know has landed just yet. But, it'll be interesting to see. There's 3 rookies in this rotation right now for the Guardians when you mix in Tanner Bybee and Logan Allen. It'll be Allen getting the ball on Wednesday. Then Thursday afternoon, Shane Bieber goes up against Zach Greinke to wrap up that series. And then it is on to Wrigley Field for the Guardians, as they will have a game Friday afternoon, so they'll play consecutive day games, 2:10 and 2:20, and then Saturday and Sunday, Saturday night at 7:15, Sunday at 2:20, before coming home they will have a 7-game homestand to wrap up the first half of the season and head into the All-Star break, where the game is played in Seattle. And don't forget, 3 games this year, Pirates and Guardians, all at PNC Park, July 17th, 18th, and 19th, 7:05 for the first 2 nights, then a 12:35 game on the 19th. And you look at the last couple of years, and it's felt like, well, the Guardians have had the better team, but it's been the Pirates that it seems like have had control of the series over the last couple of years. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Boy, the Reds have been on fire. I got the Battle of Ohio coming up later on in the season, as well as every team plays every team, of course, with the new schedule this year in Major League Baseball. So less divisional opponent games. We used to play 19. Now you're only playing 13 games against each of your divisional opponents. So less games against Detroit, Kansas City, Minnesota, those divisional rivals that you get used to and have played very well against. You're not going to see them as much this year and going forward. And I mentioned earlier in the show, today was a day to talk to coaches, and that is going to continue coming up after the break. Our friend Coach Bob Gessler was able to hook me up with a legend in high school football in the Valley. We will talk to former Cheney Cowboy head coach Ron Burtis, and that'll be coming up after we take this break right here on By All Means.
Golf in the Mahoning Valley starts at Mill Creek Golf Course. Come out to the 36 beautiful hole design course by Donald Ross, and golf lessons are available by calling the team shop at 330-740-7112. Don't forget about family fun nights on Friday and Saturday evenings, a family of 4 with cart for only $25. Or visit the Wick Recreation Area and the lighted par 3 course. Book your tee time today at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Mill Creek Golf Course is the Valley's leader for golfing fun with a practice range, short game area, and hole 55 bar and grill all on site. Mill Creek Golf Course features a friendly PGA professional staff available for instruction, along with 36 challenging holes designed by the legendary Donald Ross. Don't forget family fun night golf on Fridays and Saturdays for just $25. For details and tee times, call 330-740-7112 or go online to millcreekmetroparks.org.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother! We can do this together!
All right, let's go. Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What? Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't? Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this!
You will rock this! To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. Cool. Very cool. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you can miss a lot.
Mark, you're 100% right. He does not get enough credit around the league. He gets, obviously, Coach Calhoun and the assistants and the rest of the players here at YSU know how valuable he is. He is right now their best player on the floor, hands down.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
By All Means continues right here on Western Reserve Radio. We've talked about how we have so many great coaches in the Valley. Well, another one received the honor just recently of being named to the Ohio High School Coaches Hall of Fame coming up next year. That is former Cheney Cowboy head coach Ron Burtis. 128 career wins in 13 years with the Cowboys. He won 14 City Series championships, 8 playoff appearances, and, of course, a state runner-up in 1997. Coach, how are you? Thank you for taking a few minutes to join us.
I'm good. Thank you, Mark.
So take us back to when you found out you were elected to the High School Coaches Hall of Fame. Who told you and how did you find out, Coach?
Actually, I was on the golf course with my son, and I got a call from Sean Guerrero, and he let me know that they selected me for next year's class.
And it has to be exciting. We look at the list we've had over the last couple of years: Coach Yeagley, Coach Kopko, Coach Bayek. Now you coming up next year. It just proves what fantastic coaches we have in the Valley.
Yeah, and I'm extremely humbled to be in that company. It really is an honor.
So when you think about your time at Cheney, Coach, what are some of your fondest memories of running that program?
Well, first and foremost, certainly the great kids that we had. We were just blessed with great players, and it was a great run. And we also had some great coaches. I'm extremely fortunate to have been able to coach alongside of some of the guys that went on to be head coaches and were all great coaches for us at Cheney.
Coach, I wanted to just get your perspective on how the game has changed. I mentioned it earlier in the show. The season is starting the earliest it ever has. There's so many teams now that make the playoffs. Do you think the game has gotten better, or has it gotten worse?
Well, I think the playoffs have watered down, but I think it's a great opportunity to get more teams a taste of that. The first time that we were fortunate enough to get into the playoffs, that's when 4 teams went in a division, you sat there on Saturday knowing that you were in the hunt, and you were waiting for that call Sunday morning, and then the media would come out, and it was really an excitable time. So I think that the fact that there's more teams getting in spices it up, and I think the naysayers out there would say that it somewhat waters it down, but again, I think it's really good for the kids.
When you look at this season starting like it is on August 17th, I think is the first game on Thursday night, it's got to be so hard to keep kids, because if you play all the way to the state championship in December, that's months. It's got to be hard for coaches to keep guys healthy and ready to go on game day with a season that lasts that long.
There's no question, and that's where conditioning and great program really enters into the picture. And I think the guys in the area do a phenomenal job. And you're right about the injuries. 1 or 2 injuries could really make a difference. And so keeping the kids healthy through that long period of a time it really becomes paramount.
Coach, I remember the state championship game in 1997. It was my first state championship broadcast, working that game with John Caparanis and Harry Paytas, 2 legends I was privy to work with. I know the game didn't go your way, but take us back to that game. What were your memories of that day?
Well, it really was a great game. I don't want to say stumbled into it, but we were, we happened to hit our stride in week 10 as far as playing some of our best football, and we didn't know whether we were going to even get in. And then we played an undefeated Hubbard team. Jeff was coaching at the time back, and we went out and really played well and came out with a pretty good win there. And it got us in, and we drew the number one team in the state in Division III, which was Minerva at the time, and played them down in Salem. And it was rainy and cold, and we had quite a good offense and defensive performance. Threw the ball pretty well in those conditions, and came out on top, which gave us a rematch with East, because East had beat us in the regular season, which was the first and only city loss in 15 years that we had, and they had a really, really good football team, and Mark did a great job with those kids, and it set up the rematch at YSU, and it was a game of two halves, and we came out on top at the end, and it matched us in the semifinals with Walsh Jesuit, who was a perennial state contender, and had an outstanding football team, and our kids went and played lights out, especially defensively, in bad conditions at Fawcett, and that propelled us into the championship game with DeSales, and they had 90 some kids dressed for the game, and we had 35, and again, our kids couldn't have played better. I mean, they did, and we put ourselves in a position for the go-ahead drive, and we were down around 9 or 10 late in the game, and fumbled the football on just a simple curl pattern. The kid got hit pretty good high and low, and they got the ball, which put them in a position. But we were playing great defense, and they weren't much of a throwing team. They were a triple team, and there was a timeout. They had the ball deep in their own territory. We were playing for overtime at that point, so we were telling the kids, just keep everything in front of you. We were in prevent, and one of our kids got their feet tangled up. They completed a long pass, got down to about the 10 or 15, and they had, I guess, the best kicker in the state, and he knocked it down, and we lose 17-14. But again, I couldn't be prouder of our kids, how they performed and carried themselves during that game.
Coach, I kind of forgot about that first round playoff game when you faced Hubbard. That's my alma mater. I'd only been out of high school a few years at that point, and I remember that matchup in round one.
No, that Hubbard was was week 10.
I'm sorry.
That propelled us into that got us into the playoffs by beating them. They were undefeated. Mm-hmm. They were getting ready to go. We knocked them out of the playoffs, but that win got us in as one of the 4 top teams.
Coach, when you look at just the way the game was played, when you stepped away to the way the high school game is played now, do you think the game itself is in good shape? Do you like that it's a little more wide open than it used to be? What's your thoughts on the high school game right now?
Well, you're 100% right. It is a lot more wide open. The things that we asked and we got out of our kids, I don't know that coaches are able to ask their kids to do the same thing. I mean, we were pretty smash mouth on both sides of the football, but that was the nature of the game. And I think it's from a fan perspective, I think the openness of the game is good. But from the coaches that are purists as far as, it all being about blocking and tackling and who's tougher. I think, those people long for the good old days, so to speak.
When you look back on those days, what is it, being in the locker room with your guys? Is it, getting ready for a game with your assistant coaches? What are those things that you think about that you enjoyed the most?
The camaraderie of staff and players. I mean, the togetherness. I mean, and I know it's no different now, but it's an all-year deal. I mean, if you're not playing another sport, I mean, you're in the weight room, you're conditioning, and you're doing things in the community and community service-wise, and it's an all-the-time thing. Lombardi said winning isn't a sometimes thing; it's an all-the-time thing, and that's what program is, and I think the time element, like I said, is so there's so much time that you put in together that you can't help but draw closer and develop just great relationships.
Well, Coach, congratulations on going into the Hall of Fame next summer. I appreciate a couple minutes of your time. And again, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That is former Cheney Cowboy head coach Ron Burtis. 15 years at the helm of the Cowboys, 14 City Series championship, 8 playoff appearances, a state runner-up in 1997, and a career record of 128 and 77, and just another coach in that long list that I mentioned. Coach Yeagley, Coach Kopko, Coach Bayek. We've seen a lot of our area coaches go into the Hall of Fame over the last couple of years, and it is a well-deserved. And I also got to thank Coach Gessler. I'm not always going to speak the nicest about Coach. We kind of may take some shots at each other once in a while, but for a guy that bleeds Cheney Cowboys to the point where the logo is on his arm permanently, he is the one that helped set up that interview with Coach Burtis, and I just want to take a minute to thank him as well, because he's the first person I thought of when I saw that Coach went into the Hall of Fame, of being able to get connected with him to have Coach on the show. And always great to catch up with him. Like I said, that was my first state championship broadcast of any kind ever. We'll come back. We'll wrap up another edition of By All Means.
Golf in the Mahoning Valley starts at Mill Creek Golf Course. Mill Creek Golf Course is the host venue for the AJGA PGA Hope Program, 8 high school teams, and 2 collegiate teams. Mill Creek Golf Course is your Callaway certified golf club fitting facility. It was named the PGA of America's National Merchandiser of the Year for a public facility 2022. Book your tee time at 330-740-7112 or online at millcreekmetroparks.org.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Sandrock Concrete specializes in all types of concrete, driveways, sidewalks, basements, and garages. We also do stamp-colored concrete in many different designs. We do interior and exterior stonework, regular brick and block work. Sandrock Concrete is fully insured. Call Jerry Sandrock at 330-506-0013 for an estimate. Also find them on Facebook at Sandrock Concrete LLC. Sandrock Concrete, where you deal with the owner all the time.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey. high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
That's where it all begins, with the rich sports history that we have in the Valley. We're going to talk national, we're going to talk regional, but it all begins here at home. So that is where a lot of those topics and conversations that we have with you every Tuesday are going to come from.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
The game is over, but this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken, and you're listening to the home of the Youngstown Phantoms, Western Reserve Radio.
Wrapping up today's edition of By All Means, brought to you by our friends at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Book your tee time by going to millcreekmetroparks.org. Thank you to, I guess it was a show full of coaches. We talked to the head coach, second-year head coach of the Cleveland Cobras, Adam Rogerson, who talked to us about last week's big win against the Gladiators and previewed the matchup against the Golden Hawks in 2 weeks. For the Cobras, you just heard from former Cheney head coach Ron Burtis, who was elected to the Ohio High School Coaches Hall of Fame. He will go in next summer. And we also mentioned that we will announce our Western Reserve Radio 2, Sports Radio 1240, high school football schedule on social media Friday at noon. You'll see the schedule that as it sits currently. We'll have all that for you on all of our social medias coming up Friday at noon. And can you believe it? Thursday marks 7 weeks before the start of the high school football season, the earliest start time we have ever had in the state of Ohio. We will see how things play out. Going to be an interesting season. A lot of quarterbacks graduated, and that's not the easiest thing to replace. Do we set the bar high with 3 teams going to the state championship again this year? Probably not. Last year was a lot of fun. We will see how it all plays out. That is going to do it for today's edition of By All Means. Thank you for tuning in. Show, of course, brought to you by Milk Creek Golf Course. Off next Tuesday for the 4th of July. Back with you in 2 weeks right here on Western Reserve Radio.